Right, in this video I'm going to be reviewing my overall thoughts and feelings on the PTS, the patch notes, give some potential advice on how things can be swapped up to be a little bit better, a little bit cleaner, actually have a purpose within the game, be competitive within the variety of different situations that we currently have in the game, as well as potentially push it forward to a point of where the pieces are overall going to be usable. As it stands at the moment, I only really see one usable thing, which is the Oroborus SMG, and even that has a long way to go in terms of its overall functionality. And the reason I bring these things up, because there's going to be a few people, I've had it already, a few messages being people like, why do you care so much? Not everything can be meta. I'm not wanting it to be meta. I'm wanting it to be, or at least promote, diversity. What is the point in putting something in the game which is going to have little to no benefit or even use in terms of what the players are able to achieve with the current gear we have? I don't want everything to be meta. I don't need everything to be meta. I'm not expecting every weapon to be Regulus. I'm not expecting every gear piece to be Headhunter. That is completely unreasonable and unfeasible, and will also kill the diversity in the builds we have in the game. It's a very weird misconception that a lot of people are like, oh, if like meta or having things be meta kills diversity. No, it actually promotes it, because that's how you get off meta builds. Whereas if everything is meta, at which point you then end up in an argument, oh look, still got the friggin' armor bug. Good shout. Still releasing content but not fixing bugs that have been in the game for like 2 years plus. Love it. Absolutely. But yeah, meta being in a game actually promotes build diversity, because for some weird reason, the moment someone's told this is the best way to go, a load of people bang their heads together and they try and find a way around that notion. And despite the fact that you'll typically find, ideally, that meta will be better, it also does hinge on player skill and their intuitive nature and knowledge within the game. Essentially, meta tends to only perform if you can work with it. However, if you can drop 5% in your total damage but have a build be so much more comfortable and user-friendly, it's still not the meta, but it isn't detracting from the fact that you can build in this manner, which is, for a lot of people, much more worthwhile, which is perfectly fine. That being said, though, there are a few things in the PTS which just do not make sense, which we are going to have a look at now. So, first thing is there's a few descent buffs and changes. These are all well and good. I'm not going to complain about this, despite the fact that I absolutely hate the descent. Like, profusely hate the descent. I'm not going to complain about it, because this is something that potentially will get even me, in the descent and getting on with it. We're getting more talents. There have been more things involved. I think some of them are a little bit stupid, like adding pummel with regicide. Don't get me wrong, I cannot wait to run around with a shotgun blowing everyone's head off with pummel. This is going to be amazing. It's going to be pretty awesome. I'm probably going to enjoy it a little bit, but at the same time, in the interest of balance, that seems a little bit over the top for me. However, the main thing that I am interested in is this bit. The increase in reconstruction and exotic caches, mainly just the reconstructed cache from Nemesis. It's been increased from 12% to 50%. In order to get this drop chance previously, you had to go to like loop 39, loop 40, and even then it was only like 30%. This to me is how it should have started. In order to get to loop 40 in the first place, you're looking at anything from 3 hours to 10 hours of play. That is a lot of time commitment that they are asking from their players, to a point of, and I can't believe I'm going to say this considering I sit at a computer all day, to the point of it becoming genuinely unhealthy. Like, a problem unhealthy. Anyway, so yeah, descent changes are good. I am looking forward to this. Next one, Regnbue brand set. One piece is 20% explosive resistance. 2-piece, 10% skill health. 3-piece, 15% LMG damage. It has Perfect Mad Bomber on the chest, which increases the grenade radius by 75%. Grenades that kill enemies are refunded, and you can now cook a grenade by holding the fire button, making them explode earlier, and it allows you to gain 15% armor while aim throwing a grenade. You then have Perfect Unstoppable Force. Killing an enemy increases total weapon damage by 5% for 15 seconds, stacks up to 7 times, and then we got this random caveat thrown in, which isn't on the normal Unstoppable Force. Grenade kills add 2 stack. Overall thoughts and feelings on this. Useless. Like, utterly, completely useless. 20% explosive resistance. Explosive resistance has very minimal effect in this game. It's not really that worthwhile. It's only really going to have any benefit within legendary missions, but to be honest, even within legendary missions, you're able to just kill things. That they can't shoot grenades at you and explode if things are dead. I'm aware this seems like a bit of a cop-out answer, but considering the only area where this is really going to have a massive effect is going to be in PvE, and it's been a long-standing thing for the past 25 years when games started to really gain traction, that if you're playing PvE and the idea is to kill something, the best way to go about it is more damage. World of Warcraft, Monster Hunter, like, the list is literally endless. Literally just going after those two, I just got flooded with this amount of stupid games out there where the best thing to do is more damage. You don't have to worry too much about survivability if everything is dead. So, explosive resistance in this regard has absolutely minimal effect. This brand set, then goes a bit wafty because it starts giving you skill health. This is going to be absolutely minimal effect, and we're going from blue to yellow, and then eventually when we get to LMG, we go to red. So this is the third set in the game that covers all 3 stat types, red, yellow, blue, which is kind of stupid. Like, utterly stupid. Like, it makes very minimal sense in terms of the game and how the game fundamentally works at a mechanical level. You have defensive sets, you have skill sets, and you have damage sets. The idea is to mix and match those to get your overall build, but now we can just mix and match the individual brand set to get the same effect. So I don't get it. Skill health here is actually going to be pretty much very minimalistic as well. Considering the overall idea of this set, which comes with a blue core, I would expect explosive resistance. I wouldn't expect skill health, and I certainly wouldn't expect LMG damage. The overall set is just useless. It actually benefits very, very little. We then have this huge problem of the named pieces. Now, annoyingly, I can't get angry at the chest because Perfect Mad Bomber, it kind of fits the theme of this PTS, which is apparently grenades. Last one was shock. This one's grenades. I don't get why, because our grenades don't do anywhere near enough damage to be usable on the higher levels. Then we have the issue of enemies just magically know where all of the grenades are all of the time. And it ends up just being an absolute mess just because, like, you could throw all the grenades you want, enemies will most likely dodge and get out of their way. It ends up just being an absolute cop-out, and I really don't feel this being of any benefit whatsoever. The only time I ever really use grenades is when doing the silly league activities. There's always one where it's like, oh yeah, get like 5 grenade kills or something. Perfectly fine, perfectly reasonable. It's a little bit of a challenge, but to be perfectly honest, in order to do this, I drop my game down to normal. And that's basically it. Like, I don't change anything about my build. I just drop down to normal. Because that's literally all it takes. And that's the only area that I have found grenades to be effective in that manner of killing. Any other time, grenades are mostly there to either force an enemy out of cover or proc a buff, such as Bloody Knuckles or... Wait, trying to talk here. Go away, shut up. Or Sledgehammer. And that's basically it. Other than that, grenades don't really serve much of a purpose. We do have flashbang grenades, which do have a larger radius and can obviously proc a status effect, but again, they're not there for damage. That is purely there for the simple fact of you're blinding them, which then can help proc Wicked. Perhaps you're using Creeping Death, something, etc. Yeah. I can't get too mad at Perfect Mad Bomber. It has to come out at some point. It's a pretty bad talent overall. It can be useful, but it's in a very niche situation. So putting it on this gear set, it's no harm, no foul. It's a bad gear set for a bad talent. Then we have Perfect Unstoppable Force. Now this kind of confuses me for two reasons. And if you're watching me, I assume at some point you've watched IKEA, who if you haven't, absolutely you should watch IKEA. He actually brings up a good point, which I agree with. If we can just go back to the PTS notes real quick. Here it's 5%, 7 stacks. Right? This is pretty easy math. 5 times 7, 35. We get a maximum of 35% total weapon damage. However, we're having to get 2 extra stacks, which can be a problem. But what if we got 7% total weapon damage for 5 stacks? We still get the 35%. But we're still only keeping 5 stacks. This is actually buffing the damage from the talent, and it does mean that if you're going to do a direct comparison between Unstoppable Force and Perfect Unstoppable Force, at 1 stack, at the moment, because they're both 5%, they're the same. There's no real benefit to having it. We're relying on more stacks rather than getting more benefit from each stack. So having the stacks be 7% and only having then 5 stacks means that when you get 1 stack, Unstoppable Force is 5%, and Perfect Unstoppable is going to be 7. Now, at base, 2% total weapon damage isn't going to be a great deal. But when you get 2 stacks, we have 10% and 14%. We're going to really notice a difference here. Secondly, the only real time that this set is going to be of any benefit is going to be running the one piece for 20% total, 20% explosive resistance, and that one piece being the named backpack. Now, the only time this named backpack is really going to come into effect is if you can get a unicorn, because again, it comes with a blue core, which means you're going to need to get it to come with crit chance and crit damage so that you can change the blue core to red. This is a DPS talent. Sure, you can run red, you can run yellow, you can run whatever you want, but in order for it to be competitive, it will need to be a red core, at which point, normal Unstoppable Force, so just this bit, on something like Seska, Grupo, Providence, is, in the long run, actually going to be better. One, because we're still only getting 5% per stack, and although it lasts for 15 seconds, maintaining 7 stacks is going to be kind of a bit of an issue. As well as getting that first stack, or up to at least 5 stacks, you're going to be losing 10% crit chance, 15% crit damage, 15% headshot, and in its place you've got this. Until you get to the 6th stack, this is mostly going to be redundant. And I believe I've actually, if I can come up here, so this is just a standard, it's a high-end DPS build, which I've got here. So you've got Coyote's Mask, Providence, Contractors, Foxes. I've got a Famass here with Strained. I've got Unstoppable Force in here. These are the stats for the build. So there's your weapon damage, 25% total weapon damage. With Strained and Coyotes, you end up with 211% critical hit damage, 90 headshot, 8% damage to armor, 18 damage to targets out of cover, and 30% amplifier from Perfect Glass Cannon. This is the exact same build, except we are using Perfect Unstoppable Force, where we've lost 15% critical hit damage, but we've gained another 10% total weapon damage. Now, at maximum, all this is affording you is an extra, if we come across here to what is essentially the average, it's another 4.3% for an extra 2 stacks. However, if we just put this down to 5 stacks, which will be 0.25, we're losing. 6 stacks, 0.3. We're basically on par. Like, you're not going to notice 0.4% difference. And it only really shines when you get to and are able to maintain all 7 stacks. But after an engagement is over and these stacks deteriorate, we're going to be in this situation where we're always going to be essentially 3.5% here ahead. So we get 1 stack, 0.05, 0.05. Like, nothing's changed. We're still there. All the way up to 5 stacks, it stays the same. There is, at this point, no point perfect unstoppable force existing, because in order to get to the point of where perfect unstoppable force is going to have an effect, you need 7 stacks. Whereas if we started it again, 0.05, and we had 0.07, the gap is close, but after 1 stack, we're only doing 1% more rather than 5. 0.1, so that's 2 stacks, and this will have 0.014. We're now, again, basically still even, but perfect unstoppable force is now in the lead after 2 stacks. 0.15, that's not... There we are. And then 0.21. 1.6 in the lead. This would be how you would fix it. You would change it preferably to 7%, 5 stacks. That would be how you would fix it. Ideally, you want to rework this entire set. But if you wanted to do it cheap and nasty and get some benefit out of it and make it look like the devs, make it look like they're actually doing something, change this to 7% and change the max stacks to 5. Problem solved. Right, next up we have the Ortiz gear set. Honestly, I've struggled trying to figure out a way in which this can even be remotely competitive, simply just because its main competitor is going to be Eclipse. And there is no way for this to actually compete with Eclipse. I kind of feel like the main thing they should really do would be to basically make the flame turret the Ortiz turret by default. Just get rid of the set, but give us the Ortiz turret. That would be worthwhile. Also, decrease the turret's cooldown. One thing I noticed when testing this is, regardless of what I did, that turret had like a 30-second cooldown. It was, I think the lowest I got it was 22 seconds, which is ridiculous. So you're making a set on this piece, and there's no way to manage its own individual cooldown, which is completely redundant. And this is how, in a previous video when I said that Rigger would outperform it, that's how it would work. Because Rigger, you'd be able to reset that cooldown. The difference in total damage, well, the turret damage itself, the initial hit, Rigger would do more. In terms of burn, Ortiz would do more. But when the turret runs out, Rigger can just go, boop, turret back out. Ortiz, hold on, mate, I'll just wait 30 seconds while the main source of my damage and the entire thing that my build depends on has a cooldown of 30 bloody seconds. Yeah, not worthwhile. Why have I got an AR? The overall effect of Ortiz I can see being quite fun and entertaining, a little bit different, a little bit weird, but in terms of performance, I am sorry, no, the thing is dead in the water. There's no benefit to it actually existing whatsoever. It's going to be directly competing against Eclipse, which is a no. Like, the only thing that can really compete against Eclipse is another Eclipse. Like, the only way in which you would actually be able to compete against it would be to essentially make Eclipse again with the exact same stats, etc., but give it the Ortiz turret. But then, at which point, you might as well just change Eclipse to do that anyway. It's kind of dull. Now again, although Eclipse is a meta set, that also kind of leads into the overall problem. In order for it to be competitive, it would at least need to be able to get close. Eclipse does over double. In terms of overall like longevity and performance, Eclipse does over double. The individual hit from the turret is Eclipse does literally double the burn. Eclipse does like 90% more. And then due to the refresh of the burn and how quickly Eclipse can spread compared to Ortiz, the overall effect across like a mission or an event or whatever it is you're wanting to do, Eclipse quite literally does over double. Now, there are going to be, like I said, some interesting, weird and wacky things that you could potentially do with it. But as I showed in a previous video, the idea behind using a turret would be knowing where things spawn, which not everyone is going to know how to do. With a flame turret, it's got a very limited range. I can't just whack it down here, start a fight over there and expect my turret to get involved. I mean, it potentially could. It will probably sit there and start throwing its flames about. Now, annoyingly, I do have directives on, but hopefully I can sort of show what I mean. But in a standard like turret drone build, if you're going to use this, you're able to put your turret and drones out basically anywhere you want. Is there like a better area I can... Right, so there is a territory control just here. Now, annoyingly, I do have directives on, but hopefully this will show my point. So if I just a normal turret and drone build, I could literally just throw my turret there, and it will start shooting them, and it will get them. But the flame turret has a very limited range, which now means I need to get quite a bit closer in order to get my turret to do something, like a lot closer than this. I'd literally need to be like 10 feet from him. Now, with a little bit of brain power, I could be sneaky and I could throw my turret here, because after I've killed these guys, one of the spawn points is this door. But it's also that door back there, just to the right of that purple. So if they spawn out of there, this turret's useless. Having this mechanic on a turret, I feel, is pretty damn stupid. So we're just going to like try and burn through these guys. I don't really have like a decent build to show this accurately. I'm running an Eclipse build with a friggin' flame turret. So this is going to be completely and utterly horrible. Right, only luck they come out of this door. Oh, we do. We're lucky. But that entire time, that turret was useless. It finally now has a use. And it lasted for what? Not that long. It's now got a 35-second cooldown. In terms of how you're going to play it, that is it. That was annoying. I could have just done a normal friggin' Eclipse there and got it done a lot quicker and a lot easier. Not to mention the fact that on the spread, Eclipse goes further and it also refreshes. Whereas Ortiz doesn't. So once things are no longer on fire and move out of range of your turret, you're kind of fucked. Right. Next bit is going to be the exotic chest. Now, I didn't actually go over this simply just because. Okay, right, we've got... This, to me, is weird. Exotic chest, the collector. Talent is hoarder. +3 grenade capacity, plus 50% grenade radius, 35% grenade damage, and for extra other enemy caught within the blast, it's another 25% damage. You automatically regenerate a grenade every 60 seconds. Alright? 2 in the bag part. Oh, and the overcharge also refunds grenades. To me, this is very similar. I kind of feel like it's a bit of a cop-out. We then have view PvP stats. Automatically generate a grenade ammo every 60 seconds. I don't know why, but I can see Tip of the Spear and Collector with absolute grenade spam in PvP, and I can see it becoming a bit of a problem. Just because, what, just like refunding 3 grenades every 60 seconds seems a bit weird. And the amount that you could potentially do with this is going to be kind of annoying, especially if you go survivalist and just throw fire grenades everywhere and just have sledgehammer on all of your weapons. Again though, the big concern I have is we're leaning far too heavily into grenades. Now, I'm not too sure how much of a difference that 35% increase in grenade damage is going to make. All I know is even on normal, it takes like 2 grenades to kill a red. depending on, like, it leaves them with like a tiny bit of health, and then you need another one. So if you chip them a little bit, maybe you can do it in one grenade. But still, grenades can't even kill reds on normal. So what the hell is this chest doing? The only benefit I can see to this is, again, running survivalist, utilizing this chest, and in certain dedicated sorted groups, we are going to have a way to regenerate grenades so that if we do get to a certain position in like a speed run or something, there's no argument not to have a grenade ready to proc sledgehammer on a door spawn. That's literally the only time I can see this chest being useful. However, one thing that really confuses me about it is it comes with a red core, crit chance, and crit damage. It literally looks like this. But obviously, it's not this. I don't have it, but you get the picture. It's a completely offensive chest that works with grenades. I honestly would have thought it would have a blue core, explosive resistance, and I don't know, like a random gimmicky little attribute of explosive damage to get a little bit more out of that grenade. But no, we come with a red core. So even if we wanted to make an explosive build, something along the lines of, do I have one? Where's Yeetus Deletus? So even if I wanted to make like a mortar build and be like, oh yeah, I could just incorporate this chest. No, I can't. It's red. Like even had giving it, like it should have, ideally it should have come with a skill tier so that we could put it into something like this. Ideally. It is a very short-sighted and stupid exotic. It's kind of idiotic. I would suggest, in terms of changing this, 1, skill tier, 2, give it an explosive damage stat. Have it like be the only item that has an explosive damage. Rather than have grenade damage, give it have the talent do explosive damage as well. Increase the explosive damage. This way it's not just, it's going to benefit grenades. We're able to automatically generate grenades. Give it like a little perk of, I don't know, like 20% increase. Like amplify all weapon damage when we hit a target with a grenade for 10 seconds or something. But as it stands right now, this being a weird grenade piece with these stats and then being full red, there's no point to it existing in any capacity anywhere on any build. It's not going to be useful because it's relying on a grenade, which 1, like I said, can't even kill reds on normal. 2, see if we can just sneak in close. Right, there's a dude right there. They're in range. Throws grenade. Oh yeah, we hit. There's like no damage on him whatsoever. Right, there's nothing. Absolutely nothing. And now that they're aware of me, if I throw a grenade now, look. Fucking nothing. No, didn't hit them. He's out of the way. He's out of the way. And now that I'm in combat, like, it's damn near impossible to hit them with a grenade. Like, it's not going to happen. Grenades are useless in the endgame. Why are we getting gear pieces for this? Iron Lung. This is a weird one because I've had a lot of people say, oh, but like, I've seen videos of people getting XYZ damage out of it. That's all well and good, but it is just an MG5. So, I've made an infantry MG5. I have put, because the attachments on the Iron Lung is 35, so I've now got 50, so winning. It has 10% crit damage, and then it had 10% crit damage. With this, I've got 10% crit chance and 5% crit damage. In terms of overall performance, this is already better. Right, immediately. I've got shit stats. Right, all I'm going to do is recalibrate. There's that's not Lumaga, there's Lumaga. Infantry MG5. Strained. That's literally it. So the damage I've got to beat is like 1.2 mil. I'm already at 900k and I'm like half stacks. I'm at 1 mil. I think if these got a little bit of an increase in stats, I reckon I could get 1.2 mil. Easy. Iron Lung's talent and its mechanic behind its talent is fucking awful. The idea behind, the idea behind it is bloody amazing. The execution is fucking awful. What needs to happen is, 1, have the stack, the build up, decrease when you reload, but have the stack decrease slower so that after you've reloaded, you've got like half a bar. So you can build it up again a bit quicker. While building up this stack, have it so that at no stacks, it's 0%, and at full stacks, it's 20% amplified damage. And as it builds up, you get more. So when you get to like the halfway point, the enemies still aren't being set on fire, but you're doing a 10% amp damage. This way, it will be able to compete with, it's still an LMG, it's still an MG5, it's not going to be the best thing going, it's nowhere near going to be good. But this way, it's going to be competitive with other LMGs. So have it, as you're building up that overheat bar, it will ramp up damage similar to a way in which Strain does, but where Strain is just critical hit damage, have this be amplified. So it's going to affect your non-crits as well as your crits. And then when it hits max stack, you're now doing 20% amplified damage and you're setting the enemies on fire. In terms of longevity, it still won't actually beat an MG5 with Strained, just because we're able to customize it a bit more, etc., etc. Like, just the simple fact that I can put a 50 round pouch on this thing and then build around that, it's going to outperform Iron Lung basically all of the time, assuming targets don't get suppressed, which is the big problem with LMGs. Iron Lung needs something else, because the moment you build up that bar to get the fire damage, it's over, and then you've got to reset it. So there's no point that talent actually even existing, especially considering on an LMG, you're either going to kill it, because you've got a lot of bullets to go through, it procs after 40 bullets, okay? So let's try and stop at 60. Right, that's 50. Target's nearly dead anyway. Like, he's on health now. That fire is not going to be of any benefit. And if we start from a higher stack point, you'd have been dead. Because let's face it, if you're going to run a build like that, you're going to be using strikers. We all know how to manage and maintain stacks pretty effectively and easily. At which point, the targets where that fire is potentially going to make a difference, we're going to be at max stacks and they're going to be dead. Like, he's basically dead. And that was with, like, I dropped the stacks a bit. Another 40 bullets. The idea behind Iron Lung is pretty good. But the execution is shocking. Like, it's actually shocking. The Oroborus SMG. Now, this is an interesting one. Just simply because the weapon itself is amazing. The talent, like, you could just delete the talent. Just don't even give it a talent. Like, seriously, just delete it. Just get rid of it. Give it something weird, something stupid. I don't know. Well, I say stupid. You've given it something stupid. The reason for this is Oroborus. When an agent is hit with a status effect applied to them, 50% of the ammo of their next magazine will apply the status to their targets. This effect can only occur during combat. It's going to be a base level status. Now, I've already seen, again, and I hate when people do this, oh, it's meant for PvP. Fuck off, is it? Oh, this is a PvP. The only thing in this game that is specifically designed for PvP is system corrupted. Everything else is interchangeable. There are going to be things that work better in PvP, and there are going to be things that work better in PvE. However, this is mostly going to come down to the individual player and how they utilize their playstyle against others or against AI. There is nothing wrong with this. However, saying that something is specifically PvP, you are a fucking idiot. And I really do hate this argument. I really do. This talent is not designed for PvP. Would you like to know why? Because it's still a base tier status. Just to show. Right. What we're going to do is we're going to equip a sticky, as I've got here. Mine's at skill tier thingy 10. Burn damage at 10. Right. The base level burn. This actually doesn't have a base level burn. Actually, that's a good point. Let's go chem. Fire starter. Firestarter has a base level burn. Alright, so when you get hit with a status effect, say fire, and Oroborus is now going to give you fire bullets, you will do approximately 113k, 114k per burn. No matter what you do to this, this won't increase. And did you also notice how the duration on the burn? Look, what's the duration on the burn? It's fucking what? That's nothing. No matter what you do to Oroborus, you'll maybe get like another second out of that, and maybe another K out of the damage. You'll go from 113.8k to 114.6, probably. That's the most you're going to get out of it. Okay, the point behind it is very similar to the idea of the shock on St. Elmo's. The base shock is like 2 seconds. Then with 90% status effect, I get like 3 seconds out of it. Oroborus is going to do the same thing. This has, especially just like individual bullets of this magnitude, even in PvP, is going to do very minimal. Oh no, you got foamed for 1 second. Oh no, like due to the fire rate as well, even with the shock, by the time you've got hit with the shock will end and they're reloading. So if they don't kill you, which is unlikely, yeah, this is actually going to have very, very minimal use in PvP. It will be annoying because if you set them on fire, they can set you on fire. If you foam them, they can foam you. Problem is, if you're running a dedicated foaming build, your foam is going to last, 6, 7 seconds? Their foam's going to last half a second, if that. So no, this is not designed around PvP. I would actually argue it's designed specifically not to be in PvP. It's not, because that goes against the idea of how these talents work, but I would argue this is going to be more a PvE side than it will be a PvP. Easily more. However, the overall effect of this talent is null and void, because even in PvP, PvP players, if someone's running a full-on fire sticky build and they get you with that sticky, like, what's the chances of you surviving to even utilise the fire bullets? It's not going to happen, is it? Let's face it. And then in PvE, like, there's very, outside of like special ammo directives, there's very little times that we are hit with a status effect to a point of where it's actually beneficial. It's just a no-no. It's like, this talent is mostly dead. It's not going to do anything for anyone in any way, shape or form across the entirety of the game. It's pointless. I'm not too sure how we could go about fixing this. Especially as well, because I've heard that they're actually removing the ability for you to self-proc, which means when your shield breaks and you get disorientated, you're no longer going to get disorient bullets. You can't hide yourself in cover real quick, foam your feet, get foam bullets. That's no longer going to work. It has to be a status that's applied to you by an enemy, which is, I kind of get it, but at the same time, that's like the only real benefit that this talent actually had, and now they're removing it. So, it's stupid all round. Yeah, I'm not too sure how we could go about fixing this at all. It's a bit dumb. It's useless. Ideally, it is, well, not ideally, it just actually is useless. It seems like a nice gimmick, but yeah. I kind of feel like there needs to be a petition put out. Stop putting elements on weapons that do this. With Scorpio, it's kind of fine because it cycles through them, but shock ammo on an AR. Really? Really? That is like the most stupid thing ever. And now we've got this, which is, yeah. And the main reason is because like you put one bullet into them, they're on fire. By the time they're out of fire, you're reloading. You had like 50 shock rounds. You've now got 0, and you put them all into one enemy. It's stupid. It's retarded. It's not going to benefit anything or anyone. Right. Next is going to be the stabilized talent. Now, I don't get this. It's because steady-handed. Is it steady-handed? I went over this in a previous video. Steady-handed, there it is. Hits grant a stack of 1% accuracy and stability at 100 stats, consumes to refill the map. the magazine. The difference between this and stabilize is this requires you to hit the target, where stabilize just requires you to shoot. You don't actually have to hit the target. And then on the plus side of with steady-handed, that when you hit 100 stacks, it just refills the magazine, which is probably going to be more benefit. My main issue with this is they are way too similar. And I kind of feel like stabilize is poor man's steady-handed. And I already feel like this game is way too easy. I'm not sure if this is like an elitist perspective. It probably is. But I feel like this game is way too easy. And now they're just adding things in to make it even more casual and easy. Rather than hitting a target and being rewarded for you hitting that target by getting an increase in accuracy and stability, now it quite simply is just fucking shoot. Just fucking shoot anywhere. Doesn't matter. Just shoot. Go for it. Shoot the pigeons. Accuracy and stability. It's all yours. Fucking shoot thin air, mate. Get a reward for it. Putting this on named items, fine. However, I do feel this should be absolutely be on an LMG. Like, bar none. Stupid idea putting it on an AR. I feel like most ARs are pretty accurate and stable, with 3 exceptions, all 3 being exotic. You've got Eagle Bearer, which is one of the most inaccurate ARs going. Bighorn, I was trying not to say shithorn, I just said it anyway, so fuck it. Shithorn is also one of the most inaccurate ARs going, although despite the fact that it's probably one of the most powerful. And then Chameleon, but this plays like an SMG, just because some weird reason Chameleon is an AR, but it's based on the Vector, which is an SMG, so I can kind of let that one go. It's pretty self-explanatory. So the only real AR I can actually see this being on a benefit on, or as a named, would have been the AK. This should have been on AK, because the G36 is pretty accurate and pretty damn stable anyway. Putting this on an SMG, I feel is really, really stupid. Main reason being is, okay, I've got like 15% handling on this, but look at the stability, look at the accuracy. Like, yeah, like, are we sure about this, devs? Are we sure about how, like, chatterbox, again, stability, accuracy. Have I got any other SMGs? Not here. Weapons, right, SMGs, where you at? Stability, really high, accuracy, low. Stability high, accuracy low. Stability high, accuracy low. Stability high, accuracy low. Stability high, accuracy is actually not that bad. What is this? Safety distance, that explains it. Fucking, like, we could play this game all day. Like, even friggin' Slayer. Look at the stability, accuracy. Why is this talent the named version on a fucking SMG? It's going to get no benefit from it. It's not like the stability could get any more stable. And due to how low the accuracy is, even if you get it, like, somehow magically maintain it at 100% all the time, the difference this is going to make to your accuracy is fucking nothing. If it's stacked up to like 300%, then maybe. Maybe on like MPX. Because they're actually quite accurate. But like this, or fucking, like, no, it's utterly stupid. It really is. Finally, we come to the tip of the spear rework. And I find it ironic, this is under balancing and rework. It didn't need balancing. It didn't need reworking. Do you know what did need balancing and reworking? This, aces and eights. 15% marksman rifle damage, 30% headshot damage, bloody, 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 blah. All you need to do is just delete the word marksman. Have it be a rifle set. We don't have a rifle set in the game. I'm sure a lot of people would like it. And due to the way in which this set works, it works very, very well with DPS setups. If you're going to use it on an MMR, you're basically stuck just using the Dread Edict because it's just the best DPS MMR in the game. Although why you would use an MMR for DPS is beyond me. Change this to rifle, put an M1A on it, you are fucking away. I am firmly of the opinion that this is the worst update they've done. It's narrow, it's short-sighted. It's, to me, now it's beyond evident. I used to try and give them the benefit of the doubt, being like, they play their own game, they're just not very good at it. Maybe we could just, like, I don't know, push them in the right direction. But now I'm convinced if they do play their own game, it's on fucking normal. Like, they don't play it. They don't understand the intricacies of what we're actually able to do within the game, and they're just throw stuff out. It's kind of stupid at this point. I'm grateful for the fact that they've come back to the game and they're reintroducing content and updating things, but at this point, I why? Like, genuinely, why? There are so many better things they could have done, and from my understanding of it is the elite task force, which are players within the community, apparently players that are well known within the community, but we're not allowed to know who they are, which is strange. Apparently they lean on heavily for the ideas of these updates. Well, I'm afraid to say that if these are their ideas, they need to be fucking scrapped. You need to get new people in, because this is comical. Like, literally, we can start at the top, okay? Fucking, this is a good change. This is good. I can get behind this. However, my big complaint about all of it goes back to when Descent first came out, is a lot of people ran polls as whether or not they even liked Descent, and it was like only 30% of the player base actually wanted or liked Descent. The other 70 either couldn't give a fuck or were just completely nonplussed. They didn't want it, or they just didn't care either way. So you've implemented this huge game mode for what is essentially the minority. Now, where you can't keep everyone happy, but you should at least aim to keep the majority happy. If you're going to keep the minorities happy, you're doing your business model wrong. Regnbue, shit. It is just outright, it's shit. Unstoppable Force is retarded. Ortiz X0, whatever the fuck this is called, this is... I can't believe I'm actually going to have to say it again. At the moment, Rigger is probably the worst gear set in the game. When this comes out, we have a new champion. It is pointless from the off. Collector, I just don't get it. There's no point to it. Grenades serve very little purpose in this game. And actually making a exotic gear chest around it that we also can't incorporate into other things. Like, it should be yellow with explosive damage and armor regen for something weird. And then all you got to do is change 35% grenade damage to, I don't know, another 10% explosive damage. Or amplify all explosions by 30%. So that way it's an amplifier, but it only applies to explosions. This way, it works with grenades. We can throw it on our mortar builds. We can throw it on our seeker builds. It actually has a point. It will be worthwhile. As it stands right now, this is just fucking stupid. Iron Lung. Brilliant idea. Poorly executed. And like, the idea behind it, like, I get it. Can get behind it. There's a lot of games out there that have like a build-up mechanic. The longer you're firing, the more you do. But they don't cancel out the moment you have to reload or pause. Considering you've put this on... If it did that and it was an SMG, I would have no argument whatsoever. Like, at all. Would have zero argument whatsoever. In fact, actually, there's a fix for you. Iron Lung and Oroborus, swap their talents around. This would work on an SMG, and considering the magazine size of an LMG, this would work better. Like, I've just fixed your fucking life, devs. Stabilize. Too close to steady-handed. Completely pointless. Why it's on an SMG is, like, fucking idiotic. Beyond idiotic. And then why it's on one of the most stable and accurate ARs in the game is, again, can you at least put it on something where it's actually usable? Put it on an LMG, for crying out loud. And then the balancing rework, why you've done it this way is stupid. Why you went for tip of the spear is even more stupid. And despite the fact that, from my knowledge anyway, everyone I know is crying out for an Aces rework, and everyone I know is crying out for a gear set that works with rifles. Easy fix, right? Go to Aces and delete the word marksman. That's all you had to do. But no, this is like... I don't know if it's like creative bankruptcy or just utter incompetence at this point. I don't know. But yeah, I am not happy with this PTS at all. Have fun, good luck, don't die.